At Colorado State University Global Campus, online education isn't another thing we do. It's all we do. Get an interactive education that's built for working adults like you and that employers demand. Explore your options at csuglobal.edu.
Blog Talk Radio.
Alternative facts.
The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. At 12:07 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, numerous unidentified objects of unknown intent and unknown origin were detected at high altitudes over multiple locations of Earth's outer space by the National Radio Astronomy Observatory, and these objects are presumed to be some form of controlled aircraft. It is not known if more of these aircraft will arrive, or if they will attempt entering Earth's atmosphere. United States citizens are encouraged to monitor local media outlets, as more updates will follow as information becomes available. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. Attacks by the undead have been reported in several states across the country. The dead are rising from their graves and are attacking the human race. At this time, it is expected that more attacks of this nature will occur in several other states in the next few hours. The intent behind the attack is unknown at this time. He has been observed that a bike or exchange of fluids is a method of transmission. This is an extremely dangerous situation if they crave the taste of human flesh. It is not known whether this event will last for hours, days, or even longer. Stay calm, as authorities have been dispatched to deal with these creatures. An all-clear siren will be sounded when this situation is under control. Pacific Standard Time, nor is detected a long-range nuclear missile launcher. This missile is believed to be headed in the direction of all residents within a 400-mile radius of this area should seek a fallout shelter immediately.
Welcome to Within the Chaos with your host, Rodney the Viking Shortridge, co-host, Melinda the Raven Jackson. Want to give a big old shout out to the Facebook paranormal groups that allow us to post our shows on their pages and helping us to get the word out about all of our guests. Also, a shout out to the Connor sisters. Hats off to Misty and Ashley. They are the founders of SOS Sisters of Salem Paranormal Research Society and host of their podcast, Paranormal Party. You can find them on Facebook under Paranormal Party. If anyone would like to speak to Black Diamond Paranormal Society, BDPS, to discuss your paranormal questions or issues, go to our website at blackdiamondps.org or email blackdiamondps@yahoo.com. As always, our services are free.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. You can listen in by calling 516-387-1922, or you can go to the Vibe Radio Network website at blogtalkradio.com, Vibe Radio Network. For deep within the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for listening to Within the Chaos. My name is Rodney Shortridge, and I'll be your host tonight, along with my beautiful raven, Melinda Jackson. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to my cousins up in Ohio, Jennifer and Joe Shortridge of 222 Paranormal. If you get a chance, check out their talk show. You can find them on Facebook under 222 Paranormal. I guess that means I need to keep on going. Well, tonight our special guest is the lone wolf himself, Aaron Oakes, paranormal investigator. Aaron has been seen on Paranormal Challenge, where his former group, Living Proof of the Paranormal, was featured as a paranormal investigation group with host Zac the Man Bagans from the award-winning Ghost Adventures crew on the Travel Channel. Aaron and his team won the season final and scored big in all categories, investigating the Jerome Haunted Hotel that was featured on Ghost Adventures and many other paranormal shows. Aaron today still investigates the paranormal as a lone wolf, and he has also recently begun to research cryptids and legends of the park that is run by John Oh, shit. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, but Kuykendall, I hope that's right, an international best-selling paranormal and cryptid author and investigator. Aaron has done many field investigations and wants to bring something that no one has ever done in the field of the paranormal. He will be, in the coming months, investigating some of the most haunted locations in America. The other thing that is scary about it is that he is going to investigate these locations alone. Something that no investigator should ever do. He knows the risk and is willing to take them. Aaron is the founder of the Lone Wolf Paranormal base in Lakewood, Colorado. You can see his investigations on YouTube, where he has a new channel that he's provided a link on announcements and on Within the Chaos page. Well, that was a mouthful. And I am so sorry, Mr. John, if I mispronounced your last name, but I didn't practice it. So how was your week?
Busy week. Good week. How about you?
Why you throw that ball back at me? You just bounced it. Same old. Stuck here at the desk working, trying to eventually mow my yards one day. Might have to get them brush hog.
Get your little umbrella.
Your little, what's an umbrella for?
That way you can get out there in the rain, because it's raining every day.
No shit. Well, enough of my bullshit. Let's go ahead and see if we can get him on for the third try. It's my honor to welcome our special guest, the lone wolf, Aaron Oakes. Hello, Aaron, and I hope to God you can hear us and you're on.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. So,
Yay!
third time's a charm, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Thank goodness.
And that's John. It's Kuykendall. Is how you pronounce his name. Kuykendall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. I see it now.
So.
Well, I'm a littler and can't talk. And,
yeah.
But yeah,
I
appreciate you getting that.
Yeah.
Well, so tell us how you've been doing, bud. I know it's been a few weeks since I spoke to you last. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and you know what got you into the paranormal world?
Yeah. You know, I'm fine. First of all, I'm hanging in there, taking everything day by day, and just living the dream. And what really got me interested into paranormal was just stories. Actually, started way back when I was about 12, 11, 10 years old. Just always hearing stories, reading, looking in books of like paranormal stuff, like locations, really just reading books. That's what really got me interested in the paranormal stuff, really. And ever since then, I thought it would be cool to just, watch, some shows that were coming out, back in 2004. And actually, the first show that I actually watched, paranormal-wise, back in about 2004 was Ghost Adventures, when they did that documentary, I want to say, on the Sci-Fi Channel, when they did that that hotel place, and where they had that shadow person following them in the camera. That's what really got me excited, and, hair standing on end on the back of my neck, and on my arm. And ever since then, I've been an addict fan of paranormal. So.
Okay. So how did you get, I'm just going to go ahead and ask, because I've had a few people already ask me to ask you this, which I planned on anyway. How did you get the name The Lone Wolf?
The Lone Wolf? Well, as you mentioned earlier, I did have that group, Living Proof of the Paranormal, back then. Hard to believe it's been 5 years already since I, thought of the name of that group as well, also myself. And, yeah, we were Paranormal Challenge winners on the show Paranormal Challenge with the host Zac Bagans. And, that felt good. We got bragging rights for that. And, ever since then, the team just fell apart. We couldn't, what's the word I'm looking for? We couldn't, connect on certain levels, in other words. And, I kind of took some time off, and then just recently, I came up with an idea of, hey, I've never seen any show like on TV itself, where people are going in by themselves. I haven't seen it. Correct? If you guys have seen it, please show me. I mean, but I thought it would be interesting to, show people that I can do this by myself and not have no fear of doing it or whatsoever. And that's kind of hence the name Lone Wolf Paranormal, because, some wolves do leave the pack sometimes by themselves. And, I think it was just a good idea because, well, for one, my mom, she likes wolves, and I was like, well, why not try the Lone Wolf? So, and here I am now today, investigating by myself. So that's how I came up with the name, pretty much.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How difficult was it, for you to operate, your paranormal group? I know I have trouble, and this is going on our 10-year anniversary, and it's been one long-ass 10 years.
It was kind of difficult, I think one person more wanted fame than, taking it seriously like I did, because I was known as a skeptic pretty much. I like answers. Don't get me wrong, I do like answers, and it was just, I think what it was, it was only a matter of time when, believe it or not, our group would eventually break up. And, Crystal, that was the lead member of our group at the time, she moved to Vegas, and, I stayed here in Colorado. And, I don't know. I think it was just more, like I said, somebody wanted more fame, more than others. And, I'm not that kind of person to, want the fame. I'm more like a laid-back, easygoing type of person that just, personally likes to help out my community, if anything, if I ever investigate anywhere, because the kind of person I am is, I like to give back, not, be stingy and if there was money involved, not be too greedy about money either, because, I would like to, for example, if I did an investigation, like a group investigation at a museum somewhere or something like that, I would have just all the proceeds go towards the museum, because, if you think of it this way, who's going to maintain the museum? Somebody has to maintain the museum, and, of course, that costs money. So if I ever did an investigation group-wise, 25, 30 people maybe, I would have all that money go towards the museum or wherever I go, because that's how I am, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, would you ever consider starting another group?
That's a good question. I don't, I don't know. I really don't know. I think what I would have to do right now is see how it goes by myself, and if I don't succeed, then I would definitely look for another group and try and keep going on doing what I love, pretty much. It's a good question though, but I think I'm okay by myself for now. It gives me some clarity, for sure. Not so much stress, I think. Not that there is stress, looking for ghosts,
Right.
So.
Well, I think Melinda's got a question for you.
Hello, Aaron.
No, go ahead. How's it going?
Good. My first question is, have you had any unexplained or paranormal experiences that has left a significant mark on your life? And if so, can you describe or explain those?
I've had some instances, but they didn't really leave marks in my life. But it sure did raise a couple eyebrows and left the hair standing on the back of my neck. I would say just recently, when I did this jail by myself up in Cripple Creek here, I had an instance of millimeters and REM pods going off. And interestingly enough, it was, to me, being in there by myself was pretty intense when this stuff was going on. So what had happened was we just took a break. I want to say this was like 12:30 at night. And what had happened was the people that I have on standby, John was there. He came in, kind of stirred up some trouble, like talking like, oh, you guys aren't, what are you guys doing? You guys are quiet. You need to stop being pansies and all that. And, just pretty much just instigating before he left. And after our break was over, I resumed again by myself, and oddly enough, 5 minutes after the break, it's dark again, and I'm sitting there, and next thing I know is the millimeters spiking next to me, and then it keeps climbing up in milligauss, it went from like a 0.05 to 1, 1.0, and then like 2.0, and then next thing I know, the REM pod is going off, and so I get up, go check the REM pod. There's nothing there, because I put the REM pod in the corridor of the jail cells, and this is in the men's area upstairs, and I go back over to my millimeter and I look at it, and I always say this, I'm sorry, but I always kick myself for not getting this on video, because I was holding the video camera at the same time, but I didn't, how you see when the millimeter spikes, they try and get that on film to, document that evidence. And I didn't do that, and I'm kicking myself. But I kid you not, I saw the millimeter spike up to 155 and then the REM pod goes off again, and I'm sitting there, what am I gonna do now? And it got me scared, because I've never had anything like this ever happen. And keep in mind, this was after we had a break, and John just antagonized whatever was there, and the highest spike I got was 203.1 or 0.2, something like that, and I've never seen that, and I was just my mind was spinning when I saw that spike that much, and it was just crazy. And at the same time, the REM pod is going off, and that right there was just crazy, in all honesty. To this day, I have no explanation on why that millimeter spiked so much. And again, I kicked myself for not doing this, but I wish I would have documented that it did spike that much. And it was just crazy. I mean, if you guys were there to witness it, you would be scared. I think scared, beyond scared, on what just happened that night too, as well. And it was just crazy. It was bizarre. So, but yeah, yeah. I mean, it was crazy. And then another time, a while back, I want to say, when me and my team, again, we were still together about, 2013, 2014, I want to say, two or 3 years later after the show, we kind of revisited the Jerome Hotel again as a group, and that was pretty cool. Going back again as Paranormal Challenge winners, having bragging rights for the show, and one interesting thing that excuse me, that I caught myself was on the 4th floor of the hotel. I walk up the staircase, and when I get up to the 4th floor, I didn't even pass the threshold into the hallway yet. I look to my right. It's clear over to my right when I'm looking down there, down the hall. And so, I was like, well, hold on, guys, and I'll just, snap a couple pictures. And at the end of the hall, there's like this, I want to say like this 4 foot, maybe 4.5 foot ficus tree. And when I took a picture, keep in mind that the lights are on too in the hallway. I took a picture, and then right above that tree in the end of the hall in the corner, there's like this blurry figure, black, right above the tree. And so the good thing is I took the picture twice, so like in the same spot, so you can like compare the difference. And so in one frame there's nothing there. The next frame in the same spot, there's that black, blurry figure in the top left corner above the tree floating there. And I look at it for a second. I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I looked to the left of the corridor of the hallway, and at the end of the hall, there's like I want to say like a little, like end table type thing that's like about hip height. And again, there I snapped some pictures up there, and sure enough, it was almost like the same figure that went from the right side of the hallway to the left. And I was like, that was pretty fast, because, when I panned over to the left, it was the same thing, like at the 5 foot height, 6 foot, and it was right above, like right around the doorway of a room, of a room, and it was just bizarre, like how something like that, to me, I thought it was bizarre how something like that goes from the right side of the hallway at the far end, and then you look to my left of the corridor of the hallway, and it goes to that end. And that was like weird, beyond weird. And it was crazy. And then another thing that happened, I want to say it was either that night or the night before, I fell asleep with the TV on and the lights on. And I want to say it was probably like about 2:30, almost 3 o'clock in the morning. And I see this figure like walking in, because like I'm barely awake, but I'm sort of asleep also at the same time. And I see this figure walking in, and next thing I know, like a split second later, I notice everything is off. Like the TV's off, the lights are off, and my group was in the next room, because we stayed in this room. It was called the connecting room. It's where they put people where they had like a week left to live, either if it was like tuberculosis or whatever. And so I was in the other room, and like I said, everything was off, and I wake up and I turn everything back on. I don't know why I did. Maybe it's because I just like white noise to fall asleep to. And next morning I wake up and I was like, hey guys, did you walk in and turn all the lights off and the TVs? And they're like, no, we were sound asleep, but we heard your TV on. And I was like, oh, okay, that's weird. And didn't think anything of it, and that was that. So I was like, well, on to the next story, pretty much. And that, all the experiences I had, they were either like that, or or only just EVPs. It's still something that makes the hairs stand up on the back of my neck. So, nothing major that left scars or anything, or nothing like that. And, knock on wood, hopefully nothing ever does happen like that. I mean, if it does, then, that would be something that would be the first for me, because I've never had anything happen like that yet so far. So, but yeah.
Cool.
So when did you first see a ghost? And can you explain that experience?
Oh. I've never really seen, but I've heard ghost. I want to say, I want to say after my grandma passed back in 2015. I think that's when things really started kind of showing itself a little bit to me. And I think at the time I may have had a trigger object, possibly, because I had my grandma's recliner rocking chair in my room at the time. And on top of that, I would have her ashes in like a small little necklace urn type thing as well also. And some weird, bizarre thing that kind of happened was if I was sleeping in the room, I don't know why, I would automatically wake up, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, right on cue of like 3 o'clock or whatever. And I would just lay awake there for a couple minutes, maybe even 10, 15 minutes. And in this doorway, I would hear like knocking, and I couldn't really explain what it was. And now that I put 2 and 2 together, thinking that hey, my grandma died back in 2015, and this is like maybe a year later, 2016, and that's when it really started happening. And ever since then, it hasn't, because I moved out of the house that I was living in now, and I've never really had anything else happen since then until now. It's been quiet, and to me personally, I think I want to say it could have been my grandma saying that she was there, possibly. I don't know. Or doing something. It's hard to say. But yeah, I think with her recliner in the room that I was sleeping in may have had something to do with it, maybe, possibly. But other than that, I really haven't seen anything. I've experienced noises, but I really haven't seen anything yet by myself. I really hope I can, down the road, and see as I explore more by myself. But only when that time comes. Well, I'll see what happens. So.
So you mentioned EVPs. What type of EVPs are you getting, and are you able to communicate back and forth, with these entities, and what are they saying to you?
Excuse me. I have several EVPs. If you guys want to hear, not hear them personally, but I can tell them personally how it went down. Yeah,
that's fine.
the first EVP that we got, we were communicating with me and my team at the time. We were communicating with this guy. He was a caretaker in the Jerome old hospital, which was down the road from the Jerome Haunted Hotel itself. His name was Michael. He was, like I said, the caretaker, the maintenance guy at the time of the old hospital. He would just maintain everything there. He unfortunately committed suicide in the city hall bench, shot himself, and we communicated with him through Mailmeter and documented that video evidence on the show, and that was the first actual thing that really, blew my mind, communicating with somebody like that with a Mailmeter, because it was right on cue. It was like we would ask a question, and he said, we would say, just have it beep once for yes and, 2 for no, and, we would ask a question, and it would be like beep, and then ask another question, and it would be like, beep, beep, or whatever. And that right there was crazy. And another EVP that I got was here at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. What we did was we had a group investigation, maybe a small group of 15, 20 people, something like that. And one of the incidents that happened there was there was this woman who was homeless who would always try and break into the concert hall, because that's where we was in the concert hall. And she would stay in the dressing room to stay warm at the time, during the winter. And one winter she broke in and stayed in the dressing room. And from what I remember, I think she froze to death, if I remember right. And caught her EVP in the dressing room, one of the dressing rooms downstairs in the concert hall. So what would happen there was she would shut the door, and she was really active that night. We were doing the group investigation. So I experimented. So I would open the door, and there's nobody else in this room, and I would tell her to please shut the door. And so I was in there. I stayed in the room, and 5 seconds later, the door's shutting. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks for shutting the door. I really appreciate it. And, I'd open up the door, let it come back to center of gravity, because it was kind of, on a hinge, sort of, not really a hinge, but like a self-closing hinge, sort of. So you just it was a heavy door, so you had to open it to, where it won't swing anymore. And I asked again, but this time I put my digital recorder in the room, but then I stepped out. And so before I stepped out, I was like, okay, I'm standing in the threshold of the door, and I was like, okay, can you please close the door again? And as soon as I step out, 5 seconds later, the door shuts, and, it shuts hard to where it latches. And I was like, well, I open the door, go back in. I was like, thank you. And, I grabbed my digital recorder, and I listened back, and you can clearly hear the door shutting. And then 5 seconds later, after the door shuts and latches, you hear this moan of a woman. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's just crazy, if you ask me. And it was that, I can listen to that, a million times, and that won't ever get old with me, catching that EVP on the digital recorder of a woman moaning. It sounded like she was moaning for, like, help or something like that, and it was just bizarre and crazy, and, that evidence right there to me never gets old. It's very faint, quiet, but it's there, It's not a Class A. I would say maybe it's like a Class C or D, if that, because it's really faint and hard to hear that moan. You really have to listen to it, but it's there. And then the next thing I have after that was when I did that jail back in April. When I went live, I want to say like a couple minutes into me doing a live video on Facebook. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I hear growling on like live, and everybody that was on there watching me live was like, "Did somebody just growl at you? Did you just make a noise or anything?" I was like, "No." And when I finished up my live video, that I want to say 30 minutes to an hour later, I go back and I listen to it, and sure enough, it's either like a couple seconds in or a couple minutes in, you hear this growl, not once but twice in this live feed, and I didn't hear it at first, but then people were like, "Man, did you hear that growl?" I'm like, "No, I'm in the room and I don't hear nothing." And so the first growl was when I was in the men's jail portion of the jail. I'm sorry, and that's where I got the first growl. And then upstairs is where they held the women and children. And so the second growl is when I'm upstairs in the children's holding cell, because up there was like a bunk bed where they would have, excuse me, I'm sorry, where they kept kids in the jail cell, and that's where the second growl was in the kids holding area, and I was like, wow, that's creepy, that's scary. And another thing that happened was it wasn't really an EVP, but shadow figures that were moving around. I guess I caught one on the camera walking around after that. I didn't even know it. I didn't even know that there was a shadow figure that was walking around, and that's the thing is, like, I don't see this stuff, I don't hear it, but it's there, clear as day, and that's what keeps me going, is that stuff right there. All that I just mentioned is what keeps me going for more.
That's awesome.
So
I think Melinda's got another one for you.
I do.
Yeah.
All right.
No worries.
How many investigations have you done over the years?
By myself or like as a group?
Either.
Yeah,
either.
Either or.
Mm-hmm.
I've done one by myself, and that was the jail that I just did recently. Over the years, I've tried, but again, it's just it falls into the category of the group. I wanted to do more, but it was also a group decision, which kind of held me back to do more. Because I also came up with good ideas, but over the years, I would say I've done not very much, really, but I hope to do more by myself or with a group. I would say I've done maybe 10, 15 investigations, maybe less than that. It could be less than that. Even, 7 or 8, to my knowledge, that I know of by myself. Or not by myself, but, by myself and as a group. But by myself, I've only done one, and hope to do more by myself. So we'll see.
Okay.
What are your techniques, such as when you're working on an investigation? Do you go into it scientific, religious, metaphysical, or spiritually based?
I do like it scientifically. I do like it using science. I'm really interested in some of that. Religion-wise, not so much. But I'm open for that. For anything really. But I do like using a lot of equipment, to get answers, like digital recorders. I'm big on that. I like that, and I have yet to get any visual evidence, but I hope to down the road by myself. So we'll see. You never know. And, I'm just big on the digital aspect, like video cameras, millimeters, using the SB7 box, RIM pods, any electromagnet thing that I can get my hands on, I'll use it. One cool thing that I would like to throw out there that I haven't seen done yet. I know it sounds kind of weird, but I'm going to attempt to use like an RC car to change the aspect of the game a little bit, because if I use an RC car, it can get into places that some people can't even get into sometimes. So I hope that would be a good tool to use down the road as well also. And, that's just, something that I would like to do. So, that's a good idea. I like using also UV cameras. I like that. I found a guy who does ultraviolet cameras in 4K, and he said I can, work with him, and he said in return he would help me, modify these cameras into UV spectrum, and so that way I can use them on my own investigations, because they're 4K, and they're just, if you look at a 4K ultraviolet, to me is just clear. The clarity is just like, it's just beautiful. To me, it's beautiful because you see every little detail, and I like that aspect of clarity and from a 4K camera, and it's just amazing, really. So, but yeah, that's what I like doing so far, pretty much. So.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in your opinion, what do you think a demon is? And also, have you ever had any experiences with any type of demonic stuff with any cases or investigations that you've done?
Well, first of all, I think the closest thing that I got to ever having something demonic, to me personally, is that door closing on me. Not on me, but like on command, I guess, would be the closest thing to me that'd be demonic. And when I think of demonic too, I'm thinking of like everything flying around, like your plates, your cups, or whatever, glass breaking, just stuff that's on the counter. That's what I think something demonic is. And I hope to experience that one day, but like I said, the only thing I really got demonic-wise, to me, that was demonic-wise, was just the door shutting, and then, getting the EVP on top of that as well, too. And, I really hope I do experience something like that, but then at the same time, I don't know. I would just have to see when that time comes, if I ever experience that. Which, to me, I hope I do, because that's what I like, is that type of thrill. And that's what gets me. Again, that's what keeps me going in the paranormal world, is that thrill of, you feel that something's there with you, but you know that there's nothing there. So it keeps you, for me, from my perspective, it keeps me hungry for more answers. So.
Okay.
I have a phone in my throat.
Linda can't talk now.
I'm struggling.
But yeah.
Are there any teams or individuals in the paranormal field that are inspirational to you? And if so, can you explain why and how they've impacted you?
I have like a long list of like people that, really, first of all, Zac Bagans is really the guy that really inspired me to step out and I think also try and start my own thing. I give him the credit to get me where I am at now today, and that, and the family that's behind me now, that support me, like my wife supports me, and I give my credit to them as well. And as far as meeting people, like I said, I have a long laundry list of people that I would like to meet. One thing I would like for sure, if I can, in my lifetime again, I would like to meet Zac again and do a full investigation with him as well. If I can do that again, I would be happy. I mean, because even meeting him for the first time was like, oh my God, I get to kind of like, I get to meet my idol, that I watched on TV, and who's inspired not only me but other people as well, also. And if there was some people that I can meet, the Booth brothers would be one of them. I'd like to meet them. The Temporarily family, I would like to meet them as well. I can name a lot of people that I would like to meet in the paranormal world. Just pretty much everybody that's on TV or that is known famously on TV, I would like to meet. And even this, local people, in other states, that I don't mind meeting those people, like, or even you guys. I'd love to meet you guys as well too. I mean, you guys are like almost like the backbone of the paranormal world. To me personally, I think you guys are the backbone of the paranormal world too, because everybody connects and gets together and listens and learns. That's what I like doing. Is I like learning, but I also like teaching what I know at the same time. So, but yeah, I think that's pretty much well said and done that I can think of for now. So
we appreciate that. We never had nobody say anything positive like that about us. Normally it's all negative around here.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to these shows, it's really the backbone of any show. I think really is any paranormal show is the backbone of the paranormal world. Really, it's what connects people. I think really, in all honesty, no doubt in my mind. So.
Yeah, I try. I mean, me and Melinda try real hard. We try to, basically the paranormal, but I try to do a wide variety of different things and to connect, because I've noticed there's just so much that connects to paranormal other than paranormal, whether it's actors or actresses or ancient civilizations and so forth like that, and UFOs. I mean, it's just all connected.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I have to agree. So.
Well, my question for you is, in your opinion, what do you think a ghost could be, or a spirit?
That's a good question. It could be anything really. It can be somebody that hasn't passed on in the other world, or who hasn't seen the light yet. It could be somebody that's stuck in our realm or in our world that that hasn't moved on. And sometimes it takes that one person or a group of people to help them, guide them through, and have them pass on to the other side. That's what I think of it as, spirits. But I think you also get those ones that don't want to pass on, that just want to stay, either good or bad. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that it could be that too, because either they were stubborn in life or stubborn, in the afterlife as well too. They just don't want to leave. That's what it could very well may be. And it's hard to say. I think that's how we get our demonic cases as well. Also, is because they don't want to move on, and then they're showing you, hey, I can throw this cup or break this glass. I think that's them showing us that, hey, don't mess with me. You piss me off, I'll start throwing things or banging on things. But that's my take on it. Nothing special, just from what I know, really. So.
Well, why do you think spirits, linger and not move on to whatever they're supposed to move on to?
I thought of it like this. It could be attachments. Possibly. I don't know for sure. But you got to go in there with an open mind and, and think of, like, it could be something that they're attached to, like a trigger object, like a pocket watch, something like that. I think that could be a reason why, possibly, is why they don't leave, is because they're attached to that figure, that object, and they don't want to let go. I mean, just my thought, really. Who knows? It's hard to say. But that's a good question, though.
Okay. Well, what do you find the most challenging, while investigating, whether with a team or with yourself?
The most challenging, I think, is trying to get into these investigations. Like, one of them, I'm trying to, communicate with, just the owners. And that, to me, that's challenging, trying to get into these places. But I've emailed Bobby Mackey's, so that's another possibility that I might look into, either as a group or by myself, one of the two, or even do both one of these days. But I'm trying to get into the Sally House in Kansas City. And I haven't, that's, to me, that's a challenge, is just trying to get into these places. They either want some sort of a payment, which throws up a challenge also, because you have to either save for that trip and, pay for the investigation. And one challenge that I did run into was trying to do the Waverly Hills. But that turned into a roadblock because as soon as I said YouTube filming rights, they're like, oh, no, well, you got to have like a production crew to even film here if you want to throw it on YouTube. So that's a roadblock that I went into, because I don't have that. That's a challenge for me. I don't have a production crew. I'm just going in by myself. So that's a huge challenge for me. And even if I did do the Waverly Hills by myself, they want like they told me this. So they wanted like a group package, and that's like $1,000. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just buying a group package for myself, and then I can investigate it by myself. But just like I just mentioned, though, like as soon as I mentioned, this will be going up on YouTube, they're like, oh no, hold on, you can't do that because of filming rights for the Waverly Hills. So I was like, well, all right, back to square one again, and that's, if you really think about it, to me, is the real challenge, is trying to get into these places. And it's about who you know, too, sometimes. it's all about who you know sometimes also. And I think that's what's hard too, is you got to find the right people to be on the same page as you are. So that does throw up a few challenges. So, you know, other than that, you know, I managed to get it done one way or another. So.
Well, I mean, I agree with you. There's a lot of places we'd like to go to, but one, it's too expensive once you figure your travel time and all that, and you know the groups that can afford to do this, you know, great. And I understand that these places, you know, got to have a little bit of money to help keep the operation running and the location operating. But you know, if you work out deals with groups that, you know, they're poor groups that, you know, $200 or something, you know, you think about it, you take 10 groups at $200, you're making, you're still making some big money.
Getting the word out.
And getting the word out.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're putting the time in to do the filming yourself or have someone there to film, you know, that's your right. That's your copyright. But it's their location and they have the right to say no. That sucks.
Yeah. And then that's when you hit the roadblock, and you know, like I said again too, is back to square one. If something like that happens, you know, to me, I just keep looking and try and do what I can until I find that right person to work with me. Because this last investigation that I did by myself, the Cripple Creek jail, they only wanted like what, $230, something like that. So, you know, no biggie. You know, I paid for it, and you know, it is what it is. You know, but most of these places, they, you know, like I said, they think you're made of money. So it's like, well, yeah, maybe I should look into, you know, splitting it with a group somehow. And, you know, I do plan on doing like some group investigations down the road. I'm looking into one. So, but yeah, for sure, you know, sometimes having a group helps sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes
you can split it, you know, 4 or 5 different ways, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's some pros and cons about it, but yeah.
Okay.
My next question is, do you have any skepticism when you approach a paranormal or supernatural claim?
I did have some because, you know, I was, you know, this quiet skeptic with the group when I was with the group at the time. But, you know, I also tried to debunk. So, like, if I heard a noise, I'm like, okay, so where's this noise coming from? Where's it at? Let's go to that source of the noise where it came from and, you know, try and reenact that noise or whatever, you know. But yeah, I was a skeptic in the group, and yeah, I was the biggest skeptic, I think, in the group, and I always try to debunk, like I said, always try and reenact, and every time I did reenact, I could never make the same noise or noises that I can make. So, but yeah.
Okay, what kind of mistakes have you made during an investigation?
Mistakes? When I just mentioned that what I caught on the millimeter, those spikes, those high spikes like that, I'm still to this day, I'm really kicking myself for not getting that on video, because you know how, like I said, when you watch the either Ghost Hunters or Ghost Adventures, they're watching that millimeter, so they get that spike. You know what I mean? And these spikes were like phenomenal. Like I've never heard or seen a spike like this ever whatsoever, of like 105.1 or even up to, or 155.1 to up to 205 to 205 milligauss. I've never seen that, and still to this day, I want to say I thought I did get it on video evidence that it spiked that high. But if anything, if I did get it on video evidence, I wasn't pointing at the screen of the millimeter to where it was spiking that high, and but you can hear me say, "Oh man, this spiked up to like 155.3 or something like that," and it was just bizarre, and that's me. To me, it's the only mistake that I know of that I made, and I do regret that, like deeply regret that. I didn't get that spike on video evidence, so I'm still, like I said, kicking myself for that, and I probably won't let that down until something like that if it ever happens again. Maybe we'll see, because it was just phenomenal, really, to get a spike that high. So,
okay,
but yeah.
Due to the mistake, that you made, what advice would you give like a newcomer into the paranormal field, not to make, the same mistake?
Yeah, I would say, always document what you can, either visually or audio. Mark your EVPs. Like me, when I go back and listen to my EVPs, I have a notepad with me, and I always try and write down what time I heard what at what point of the tape or digital recorder. I always try, excuse me, sorry. I always try and write down anything, like either, if I was going to like any visual evidence, I write it down, no matter what, because that writing that down helps you go back and say like I saw this apparition at this point in time, and so it's just the key thing is just document. And like I said, if you ever have that specific spike like that, and anything, like any electromagnetic spike with either, like a REM pod or an SB, or if you're using the SB7, you can get that audio evidence again. But like if you're using like a millimeter like I was, and you have that big, huge spike, always try and document that with film-wise, so that way people see and can react on how you're reacting as well too. So in other words, for that best reaction, always film your evidence as well also, if you can.
Okay.
Do you prefer to investigate residential, historical, or commercial property?
I'm open for anything and everything, really. Residential, or commercial. The first actual commercial haunting that I did was, just this cell, this jail out in Cripple Creek. I did have, excuse me, I did have one woman that reached out to me and asked for me specifically, and was only willing to work with me only, which made me feel good, because this was the first ever person that would ever want to work with me. But she told me that in her residential home, which is her husband's house, that he grew up in for 50 years now, they're seeing these things. She saw this black ball of energy, floating around in midday, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I haven't reached out to her since then, but I hope I can. The last time I tried contacting her, I just left a voicemail and, basically left it up to her to call me back, and she hasn't yet, so I might have to reach out to her again. But yeah, I'm open for anything and everything. I'm not picky when it comes to something like that. But I know with some residential investigations, I know they like to try and keep it private as well also, which I don't mind doing. But it just depends on the resident, if they want it private or not, or thrown out into the public. So, I'm just, what it comes down to is I'm really not picky. I'm open for anything, really. Whatever comes my way, I'll do it. Either if it's with a group or not. I'll just do it. I'll just straight out do it. So, But yeah.
Well, how do you feel about paranormal groups today, compared to when you started investigating the paranormal yourself?
I don't mind groups. I think you can get more answers with a group, possibly, when you're with a group, and compared to by myself. Like I mentioned earlier, doing this by myself, when I went live, having these black shadow figures and me not knowing it, that's, a good example of, being by yourself, is you don't see that by yourself. But if you hear things at different times of the night or whatever, or during the day, that can throw some people off for sure, I think. But either if I'm with a group or not, I'm fine. Either way, I'm comfortable. Just the simple fact of that doing that for experience helps. And it can, you can just build your resume no matter what you do in the paranormal field, and just grow from there. That's how I think of it, really. So.
Well, what other places in the country that you'd like to investigate? I know you mentioned Waverly Hills and Bobby Mackey's, but is there any other places in the country that you'd like to go?
Yeah. There is some stuff out in California, like the Winchester House. I'd like to get in there. If I could do that, that would be amazing. I actually did. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I actually did talk to David Oman himself out in California. I told him that I would like to do something by myself, and he said right now at this point in time he can't really because of filming issues. So that's another downfall. So. there's so many places. The Viskilla Axe House, Iowa. I'd like to get out there. I'd actually like to do that by myself. Really, also by myself. Bobby Mackey's. I hear there's a lot of great things in New York, like a lot of asylums out there that may very well be standing to this day. I don't know if they are or not. I haven't really dug deep in research-wise if there's any asylums out there or not. But if I can get out on the East Coast too as well, that would be great. Pretty much anywhere. I'd like to go to Britain or the UK. I hear there's some interesting stuff out there, either from like the World War II era all the way up until the medieval, where you have castles. Another good one was I would like to do Vlad the Impaler's Dracula's castle. That would be cool. I'm pretty much open for anywhere and everywhere that I can get my hands on, really. So, hopefully one of these days, hopefully, we'll see. I mean, hopefully I can get into these places down the road,
Uh-huh.
It's all about time and effort, too, so.
Yeah, that's true. And money.
Yeah, time, money, and effort, yep. So, but yeah.
How would you say the paranormal world has shaped your life?
How has it shaped my life? Really, it just the only way it really shaped my life is having people have my back going into this. Like my parents. For one, it could be hard sometimes though too. I know it causes divorces sometimes on relationships, but I'm thankful that my wife now is really open to it, and her culture, because she's a Hmong, they're open to the paranormal as well. I haven't mentioned paranormal to her parents at all, but the Hmong culture is really open to paranormal, like shamanism as well, and shamans like that, she supports me because she sees that it's something that I like doing and that I love doing. And, in past relationships, where I've told people I've done paranormal, they're like, oh, that's cool, you've done paranormal, but, they don't support me on it. And, to me it feels good to have somebody that really supports you on what you love doing. And this is something that I really enjoy and love doing. And, hopefully it just keeps going from there. So, to me it's really evolved now, because now I can get back out and do stuff that I love. So, it's good either way.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, where your team, Living Proof, was on the Ghost Adventurer show, can you tell everyone, how you all were able to get on the show and what was the process of the investigation and all, and that y'all were able to win it?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, Crystal, who was on the team at the time as the lead investigator, she stayed up till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning or so, and was like, "Hey, there's this show called Paranormal Challenge on the Travel Channel that's doing like a casting call." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And she's like, "Well, I applied for us." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Oh, well, pardon my French, but I was like, oh, well, shit, that's cool," So out of 10,000 people that applied also for that casting call, the Travel Channel chose us. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Out of 10,000 people, we were the ones that were chosen to go on this show. And that was just like, wow, that's just bizarre, And, the odds of that out of 10,000 people. And so to me, that was just awesome. And to me, I was emotional because, that's how I am. I was an emotional type of person. And then once we did the show, it was just pretty basic, 2 teams going head-to-head, for bragging rights, really. And, once they reveal the winners, that's the winners who were on the show were the ones that had bragging rights. And, you're basically just going head-to-head on a reality TV show, pretty much, if you think of it like that, with judges and everything. And, I was shocked, dumbfounded that at the end of the show that we won, and it was just crazy. And I was like, well, I never thought we would win, being the underdog in another state, you know what I mean? And, but yeah, we did. We won bragging rights. So, whenever or if I ever go back to Jerome Hotel, it's something to pretty much just brag about. Pretty much, really, So.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a fun experience. I recommend, if anybody has a offer like that on their table, by all means take it, because to me it was just amazing and awestruck, and and then the fact of just meeting Zac himself and actually talking to him, for a couple minutes, or he would sit down and talk to you as a group, with the group, and I do recommend, like, anybody who is starting out like that to go and experience that for themselves if they want that experience. I do recommend it highly. So.
Well, Melinda was wanting me to ask. I don't know why she wasn't.
Well,
you want to ask?
I mean, I like Zac, but I love Aaron. I was wondering what kind of guy he is.
What kind of guy Aaron is?
Yeah, I mean, he seems like he's really funny, but he's.
Really, they're down to earth. When they did like a paranormal convention out here at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Zac and Aaron were there, and out of the corner of my eye, I see Aaron at the on the corner of my eye, and I was like, hey, because I was with a couple of my friends out there. I was like, hey, is that Zac? Or not Zac? Excuse me. Is that Aaron of Ghost Adventures? They're like, yeah, And so we start walking towards him, and we're like, "Hey, Aaron, can we, just get pictures?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, you guys are awesome," and he was a down to earth guy, really nice guy, approachable, and we're like, "Oh man, we love you on Ghost Adventures," and we're just starstruck, meeting Aaron. But the one guy that I said that I'd never met was Nick at the time when he was with the group. But meeting Zach and Aaron at the same time was just awesome. So here I am holding my Starbucks, drinking coffee, and taking pictures with Aaron Goodwin was just, to me, was awesome. And he's a real nice guy. He really is. He does have that goofy mentality, because when I posed with him, he did, they're like, "Oh, let's do a funny face," and then he would, we do all our funny faces, and he's just like one of us, really, your everyday average guy. So
yeah, he does seem like a blast to have on an investigation, or somebody you want to smack it. Sit down and calm down.
I love when you get scared.
Come out here.
Yeah. When he gets scared, that's, to me, it's entertaining. I almost feel sorry for him too, because Zach's always telling him to, "Hey Aaron, go do this by yourself." What, really? And he gets all disappointed, and man, I don't want to do that by myself. Come on, man. Why are you volunteering me to do that by myself? You go, But yeah, he's a really nice guy. Anybody is, everybody. Zach is a nice guy. All the people that I've met paranormal wise they're just down to earth. They're like one of us, but with the dark side. But what I mean by dark side is like they have that niche for paranormal. So, but yeah.
Well, what's your opinion about so many, paranormal TV shows that are out? Do you think it's helping or hurting the paranormal field?
I don't know. The only shows that I've stuck with in my mind are, well, first of all, I did start with Ghost Hunters until I saw that Ghost Adventures back in 2004, their documentary. Then that's what interested me. And then when they moved over from the Sci-Fi to the Travel Channel with their own show, that's what got me more involved with them, was watching them. And with them still kicking the way they are now, they're doing something right to have 16 seasons. You know what I mean? And I honestly, I haven't even watched any other shows. I've watched the Dead Files. That's a good one. Actually, Amy, believe it or not, is from Denver, Colorado. So I think that's cool. But yeah, any other shows I haven't really watched. I haven't sat down to watch them yet or whatever. I know they're out there, but I don't know if they are hurting the paranormal world or if it's just a laughing stock or what, or, I don't know. It's hard to say until maybe I sit down and have time to watch some shows and see for myself. So.
Well, what's your opinion about people that claim they have psychic abilities?
I think I think it's a real fine line. because I don't know. I always thought it would be great to work with them, but at the same time, I really don't know. I've never really worked with one at all, and I've never, I always thought it would be good because they might be able to help you out in an investigation, possibly, or if at least to find answers. But working with some, I don't know. That's it's a real fine line. I think it is. I think it is a fine line. It's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, what's your opinion about the afterlife? Afterlife. What do you think it is? Afterlife. I'm thinking of beer.
If you think of it like this, we start out as an egg, and what's the thing that we see after we die? We see a ball, an orb, right? I think that is just a part, maybe, of evolution. I mean, we start out as an egg I think before we're born or whatever. But yeah, either way, we start out as a circle, as a ball, and when you catch those orbs, they're balls. They're balls of orbs, and and I think I don't know if it's a good aspect or not, but that's what I think of it as. Is we start out as an egg and we die as an orb or whatever, or something that's there. It's a circle of life. Either way, I think of think of it like that. If that makes sense.
Mhm.
So.
Oh yeah, it makes sense. Well, have you ever had an out-of-body experience or astro projected? If so, can you explain anything, everyone, what that was like and if it affected you in any way?
I've never had any experience like that. And I don't recall having an experience like that I know of. But when I did do that, it wasn't really an out-of-body experience, but when I did that Jerome Hotel, and we went to the room where the elevator is, where it cut off Claude Harvey's head, passing through that threshold into the elevator room, there was a big difference because you're walking in from the boiler room into the elevator room, and to me, when I walked into that elevator room, there was it felt like 1,000 pounds of pressure walking into that room, and to me that was a crazy experience. Because it felt like an elephant sitting on your chest. Oh, to me it did. But I've other than that, I've really never had any out of body or anything like that ever happen to me at all. So.
Mhm. Well, have you ever dealt with Ouija boards or anything like that?
No, I haven't. I've thought about it. The thought has crossed my mind, but doing them, I don't think it's not me. For some reason, I mean, yeah, it's not me. I'm not that kind of person to have that out of body experience. So. Or not out of body, Ouija board experience, sorry.
So you never dealt with them, or you've never played with them, or nothing like that, or had a case that influenced anything? Okay.
No, never.
Well, have you had any other experiences other than the paranormal, such as crypto or any UFO encounters?
No UFO. But again, working with that guy, John Kuykendall, he does Bigfoot explorations as well also. So I've gone with him a few times, Bigfoot hunting, and he's making books as well also and whatnot, and I've done some Bigfoot hunting because I've had some interest in that, and I, believe it or not, I actually, to pass time at work, I listen to a podcast about Bigfoot at work, just to pass the time, because they're, they're hours long, they're like hour and 30 minutes, hour and 40 minutes long, so I'm like sitting there listening all day to, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, encounters and, different experiences and all that, But yeah, I've done my fair share of Bigfoot hunting, so.
That's cool.
Yeah, I do have. Go ahead.
Okay. No, you go ahead. We both said it. No, you just go ahead.
We need a stoplight here.
We got about 18 minutes left, so you just go ahead and take your time.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say, that is another side that I like to explore too, is Bigfoot. Fact or fiction, or real or not, either way, I like to. It just falls into like the paranormal category. I like to find answers. It's like it's another field that I'm a skeptic in, is Bigfoot. I've never dealt with one myself face to face, but if I did, I don't know. I better be prepared to either run or something. Hopefully, but we'll see. I mean, yeah.
Just don't do it in Washington State with a gun, because they'll shoot you. It's illegal to shoot one of them.
Right, yeah, from what I've heard, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
How is that?
They've got a law. They passed a law that if you was to hunt and kill a Sasquatch, Bigfoot, or whatever, and if you murdered it, they will get you up for murder. For killing an endangered species.
But it's actually proven to be so.
That might be true, but state of Washington protects them.
They protect something that hasn't been found yet.
Wow. I've heard different stories though. Like, on this podcast, people are saying like people need to shoot one to bring it in for scientific evidence. But if they're passing this law to you can't kill a Sasquatch, how are you going to prove it? You know what I mean? How is that possible?
It'll be hard to talk a 10-foot to 12-foot, 1,500-pound hairy man to come in and give a blood sample. Do you mind coming with me to the hospital and get a blood sample?
We might need urine.
Yeah, and some hair. You got plenty of it.
Yeah.
Give us, I'm sorry, for all the people out there that know me or don't know me, but I would shoot one.
Right.
Now, I wouldn't shoot a baby. Now, a grown-up one, I'm a big old boy, but no, I ain't got nothing on no damn 10-foot hairy man.
Right.
No.
Right.
Hold it. I guarantee you, I'll stop it.
Right.
And then I'll be rich. And then I'll be hated. Be rich, famous, and hated all at the same time. Pretty much like I'm poor and hated. And not famous. So I'm just off there. Okay, you got another question for me?
I do. How supportive is your family with your work?
They're really supportive. They are really supportive. My mom, is very supportive. My dad is very supportive. I even tell my dad, I'm like, you just need to come out with me one of these days to see what I do. And he's like, yeah, well, whenever you have time, I'll go with you and experience what you go through and see what happens, And I'm still debating. I don't know if I want to leave him alone or not in a room somewhere, or because he's getting kind of up there in age. I don't want to scare him to death. You know what I mean? We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, they're very supportive either way. And like I said, my wife too is very supportive. She likes the fact that I'm doing I'm doing something that I love. So she enjoys that. So
they're expecting a baby too.
Aww.
And so congratulations on that.
Yep. Actually, they're due October 30th or November 1st. That's the date range we're looking for right now. So, but yeah. Yep. So yeah, or even Halloween. That'd be interesting. It'd be a big birthday party for him. So.
That would be the coolest thing ever.
Yep.
I miss Halloween. Being a Halloween baby about 4 hours.
Oh my God, I would love. That's my holiday.
just short by 4 hours, huh?
Yep, about 4 hours. I told Mama, "Can you hold me in a little longer?" No, I wanted you out.
Right. That's funny. Oh.
What? Do you have any hobbies that you enjoy other than the paranormal and Bigfoot hunting? I mean, do you do like any wood carving or painting or, I don't know, gaming?
I do play video games every now and then. But if anything, I'm an avid baseball fan. So I do watch baseball. I watch my Colorado Rockies. And I also do, I play baseball myself as well also. So it's not just only paranormal, I also play baseball. So it's something that I grew up with ever since I was 6 years old, and played, all the way up until high school, and just loved it ever since.
Well, that's awesome. I played 1 year in high school, and I sucked really bad, so they told me I stay on the football field.
Well, I almost played football too, but if anything, I probably would have been a kicker. So, I don't know how good I would have been being a kicker. So, who knows?
Yeah. Well, what? You just don't know. So, what's your plans for the rest of 2018? Do you have any projects that you're working on that you're able to talk to us tonight about?
Yes. There's quite a few. One of them being Bobby Mackey, hopefully, either like before the baby's born or after. And definitely before, what I would like to do is go back to that Cripple Creek jail and do a group investigation. And again, what I would like to do is I'm not going to be stingy. I would like to have all the proceeds, if there is proceeds, go towards the museum itself. So I'm going to try and email Michelle, the curator again, or whatever she was. I think she was the manager of the place. I think I could be wrong. And do a group investigation, ask her, and Bobby Mackey's that's another thing I might do as a group with some other guys like George, who was on the Ghost Adventures as well. Also, he was on the show himself, George Shoplin, and a couple other guys, James and Kenny. So I looked into trying to do a group with them. This is the one I either try before the baby comes or after. I think I'm shooting for maybe like a 2 or 3 months after the baby's born. We'll see, and see how that goes. So if we did that, we're gonna go into Bobby Mackey's, all 4 of us, and see what happens. And as far as any other events coming up, like I said, I'm trying to get into the Sally House. I'm trying to get into another jail here locally in Colorado, in Canyon City, that has a gas chamber. A gas chamber. So that should be interesting as well, because that would it would be the first for me to investigate a jail with a gas chamber. This other jail that I did, they didn't have anything like that. It was just a basic jail, pretty much. So other than that, there's nothing else that I know of going on. My planner book is pretty open.
Right.
So.
Well, you need to come down and to our Fan Fest we're having November 3rd. Hang out with us if you can.
Yeah. I'd be, if you have any information on that, I can definitely try and see if I can come out for sure. I would love to come out. I've been looking for paranormal conventions, either here locally or, in surrounding states, and, they really don't advertise, if you think about it, on the radio or TV. It's like the Comic-Con. The Comic-Con, they never advertise for that either, and that's a huge event, Yeah. And, I'm always open. I would love to go to a paranormal convention, just to meet people. I've never been to one. I've always wanted to go to one. And, like I said, the only ones that I know of are always on the East Coast, like Maine or Boston area, Rhode Island, those type of areas. And, excuse me, I'm sorry. I don't hear of any paranormal conventions around locally at all, which is like weird, or unless they're out there, I just don't see them, and and then, or if by the time I see it, it's like that this same day, and I'm like, oh well, I don't have any money to go to that, so how am I going to go, type of thing. That's one thing that aggravates me is I never see advertisements for paranormal conventions. You think you would?
Yeah.
As popular as they're getting, you would think. So, I'd like to do any
That's
of
the reason why we're starting one down here. We don't have nothing like that in our area, and this is our first year, and we've got a bunch so far. It seems things are going to come, so hopefully it all works out. I mean, it's always the first year. You always got the jitters that it won't work out, but I'll send you the information. See what see if you can work it out. I don't know. November is about 5 months away, 6 months away, something like that. 5 months away. No.
Well, he said the baby
about
first.
Oh, it is right. Your baby could be born during that time period.
Yeah, but yeah, if there's an event like that, I'll try and see what I can do.
Okay.
But yeah, but if anything, if you have it again next year, you can count me in for sure. But I can always talk to the wife too and see how she feels about me going out to something like that, around the time of the baby. We'll see. I think I don't think she'll mind. So I can convince her maybe.
I'll send you the information after we get off here, and let you look it over and see what you can work out.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
Okay. Well, do you have since we're running out, we're down to the last 4 minutes, do you have a website or any way for people to contact you if they got any questions, thoughts, or, comments or on how they can get a hold of you?
Yeah, excuse me again. Sorry. I do. It's lonewolfparanormal.com. And then you can also find me on Lone Wolf on Facebook, Lone Wolf Paranormal on Facebook. And on the website itself, it has like a contact me page. So like, if anybody has like any investigations, or if they want me to investigate, they can leave the comment card on that website. And also, I have a link to my site for YouTube to where people can watch my videos as well. And I recently just posted my video from my very first investigation at that jail. It's about 3 hours long. So if you have the time, if you want to watch it for 3 hours, you can. I suggest people, if they want to do that, they can. They can watch my videos on YouTube as well. Also, I'll have that link on the website as well. Also.
Okay.
But yeah, that's lonewolfparanormal.com.
Okay. Well, Aaron, it's been an honor talking to you, and I'm so thankful the third time worked, because I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time and get you on the show. And like I said, we have no respect and everything you're doing, and keep up the good work, bud.
I appreciate it, and I'm glad it did work out for us this time. Like I said, third time's a charm. So.
That's right. You got anything you want to add before we go?
Just have a good night, and it's been fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, bud. And anytime you want to try to come back on, you're opened up, just let me know. And if you got anything to talk about or add to, just let me know, and we'll get you back on.
All right, will do. I'll definitely try and get some more under Lone Wolf investigations under my belt, and I'll definitely keep in touch with you, and love to come back on with you guys for sure. I really had a blast. It was fun.
Okay. Well, we had a good time too, bud. And you tell your family and tell everybody we said have a good night. Y'all take care and have a great 4th of July coming up.
All right. Yeah, you too. You guys be safe.
Okay. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Well, let me see here. Our guest for next Thursday night, July 5th, will be Mitchell Levy. Mitchell is a AH guy and the AH who empowers through leaders to share their genius. He is an accomplished entrepreneur who has created. Can you believe I said that? Now I lost my spot. Who has created 20 businesses in the Silicon Valley, including 4 publishing companies that have published over 800 books. Mitchell is a TED speaker and international bestseller author with 59 business books. He's provided strategic consulting to over 100 companies, has advised over 500 CEOs on critical business issues, and has been chairman of the board of the NASDAQ listed company. In addition to his accomplishments, he has been happily married for 28 years, Lord mercy, and regularly spends 4 weeks annually in European country with his family and friends. Well, that's going to be a hoot.
Yep.
We're going to have a good time with him. But everyone have a great weekend. Happy 4th of July. And don't party too hard. And let's hope we can make it to the next 4th of July. So, you got anything to add?
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Now, that's it for us tonight. I want to thank everyone that took the time to listen in. I'd like to give a big shout out to the Vibe Radio Network and to Ryan for putting up with us. Also to all the first responders and our men and women in the armed services. Thank you for your service and the sacrifices that you and your families make every day to keep our great nation safe. Tune in next week to another exciting show starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everyone can go to our Facebook page Within the Chaos, and don't forget to like our page to see upcoming guests along with past shows, postings, or you can also go to my website at www.blackdiamondps.org or blogtalkradio.com/Vibe Radio Network. Also, we have a YouTube channel, so go to YouTube, look up Within the Chaos for past shows. Thanks again. Until next week, everyone have a safe weekend and have a good night. And love you all. Be careful out there.
I'm sorry. I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world, there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness of men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children. Victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed. The bitterness of men fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die. And the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you, the people, have the power. The power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give you the future and old age and security. By the promise of these things, groups have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill their promise. They do the will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!
Run to Old Navy. One day only today. Summer tees for the whole family are on sale. Just $4 for adults, $3 for kids and toddlers at Old Navy and OldNavy.com. Hurry in or miss out. Ends tonight. Valid 6/29. Select styles only.